Imagine, the year is 1405. The world map is still incomplete, but there is one man brave enough to carve his name into the unknown seas. He was once a slave of the emperor, yet he would become the ruler of the oceans. Commanding massive treasure ships that shook the Indian Ocean, carrying both peace and power to every port, Zheng He. Now let's take a look at 10 fascinating facts about him. And the most intriguing fact is fact number 5. Fact 1. Birth and family. In 1371, amidst the misty mountains of Yunnan, a child was born. This child would one day change the fate of the oceans, though no one knew it yet. His name was Ma He. He grew up in the distant western regions of the Chinese Empire, within the Muslim Hui community. His family was far from ordinary. Both his father and grandfather were respected men, having even made the rare pilgrimage to Mecca. Their faith and influence set them apart in a China where such journeys were exceptional. At home, tales of travelers, distant lands, and merchants from across the seas were constantly told. Even as a child, Ma He began to understand the vastness of the world. His imagination was ignited by the stories his mother shared and the souvenirs his father brought from faraway lands. But this calm and meaningful childhood did not last long. When Ma He was still a young boy, Ming troops entered his region. And from that moment, the course of his life would change forever. Fact 2. Captured in childhood. Ma He was only 10 to 12 years old when the flames of war swept through Yunnan. Ming troops entered the region, villages burned, and the quiet was replaced by screams. For Ma He, these were the final moments of his childhood. One day, everything changed in the blink of an eye. Soldiers attacked his village, and Ma He tried to run, but he could not. His small hands were shackled, his eyes filled with fear. He didn't understand what was happening. A long march began, taking him and thousands of other children to the imperial palace. Days of exhausting travel, the scorching sun, and the harsh shouts of soldiers made him realize he had lost his freedom. Yet he did not give up. Along the way, he quietly observed his surroundings as if trying to read the path his destiny would take. He did not know that these harsh days would shape him into a leader remembered by history. He did not yet know that the Ming Palace, where he was now a captive, would witness both his suffering and his rise. This child would one day become Zheng He, the conqueror of the oceans. Fact 3. Castration at the palace. When Ma He was brought to the palace, his fate had already been written in secret chambers. In the Ming imperial palace, the same destiny awaited thousands of children, but no one could grasp how life-changing it truly was. One morning, Ma He was led down long, dark stone corridors. His footsteps echoed off the empty walls. He still had no idea what awaited him. Finally, they stopped before a small wooden door. And there Ma He faced the most painful moment of his life. By palace rules, young boys who served close to the emperor were to be castrated. It was meant to protect them and ensure absolute loyalty to the court. But for a child, the procedure was both a physical and emotional earthquake. Ma He spent days in a dark room, his body aching, yet something awakened within his spirit, an unbreakable will. That day, his childhood ended, but a new strength was born inside him. This strength would propel him through the palace ranks, make him the emperor's most trusted aide, and one day inscribe his name in history as the ruler of the oceans. Fact 4. Becoming the emperor's closest aide. Over the years at the palace, Ma He transformed. He was no longer a frightened child. His strong will, sharp mind, and unusual leadership abilities set him apart. He executed every task flawlessly and guarded every palace secret like treasure. And this did not go unnoticed. One of the most influential figures in the court, the future emperor Zhu Di, later known to the world as Yongle, recognized Ma He's talent early on. He sensed a fire within Ma He that others could not see. Zhu Di had entered the palace during a time filled with enemies and intrigue, and he needed men he could trust. Ma He seemed born for that very moment. One day, Zhu Di chose him to be among his closest aides. This was no simple selection. It was a turning point in Ma He's life. From that moment, he would face the prince's secrets, strategies, and the palace intrigues, full of both loyalty and betrayal. An invisible bond formed between them, a bond of trust and unwavering loyalty. When Zhu Di ascended the throne, Ma He rose with him. He was no longer just a palace servant, he became the emperor's right hand. And very soon, under the name Zheng He, he would command the seas. Fact 5. Commander of the giant treasure ships. By now, Zheng He had become the emperor's most trusted aide at the palace. But his destiny was calling him to an even greater challenge, to venture into the still uncharted oceans of the world. And the tools given to him were not just ships, they were the legendary treasure ships. These ships were masterpieces of their time, each stretched up to 120 meters long, tens of meters wide, with white sails reflecting the sky, cabins to carry thousands of sailors, and armed with hundreds of cannons. Every ship was like a floating city, complete with cargo holds, water and food storage, map and star observation rooms. Zheng He studied every detail, every knot, every rope, every rule of the sails was under his command. He was more than a captain. He commanded them like an artist, anticipating dangers like a general. He listened to the rhythm of the waves, followed the stars, sensed the direction of the wind, and read the behavior of the ocean. Thousands of sailors trusted him, knowing Zheng He would not only bring them safely to port, but protect them against the ocean's fury. These ships were not just wood and stone. They symbolized the power of the Ming Empire and Zheng He's brilliant, courageous leadership. Each voyage was like a treasure hunt, each wave a new challenge, each port a new mystery. Thus, the boy who had once been the emperor's closest aide was now taking the first massive step to become the ruler of the oceans, not with a single ship, but hundreds of massive vessels, thousands of men, and a journey that would change history. Fact 6. Religious faith. Zheng He was born into a Muslim family within the Huzhe community. From a young age, the principles of Islam shaped his life: prayer, kindness, loyalty, and respect. Even as a captive in the palace, his faith never wavered. Before every voyage, he would pray to Allah for guidance and protection. Each journey, each port, became a test of his faith. Against the fierce waves, storms, and unknown waters of the ocean, he acted with patience and belief, giving his crew both strength and hope. For Zheng He, his religion was not just a personal practice, it was the foundation of his leadership and diplomacy. In every port, in every country, his compassion, fairness, and adherence to Islamic ethical principles were evident. While conducting trade and diplomatic missions, his faith helped him safeguard both himself and his crew. Thus, Zheng He's religious faith became a hidden source of strength in his life, guiding every voyage and every decision he made. Fact 7. Reaching over 30 countries. Zheng He's voyages did not just reach nearby seas, they extended to distant lands. Step by step across the Indian Ocean, he reached over 30 countries. Each port held a new mystery, a new culture, a new language, and a new people. The coasts of Africa, India, Southeast Asia, and even the ports of the Arabian Peninsula came within his reach. At every step, Zheng He carried a message of diplomacy, trade, and culture. Together with his crew, he would sometimes spend days observing a port, meeting local leaders, and establishing relationships of peace and friendship. For the people across the oceans, Zheng He was more than a sailor. He was a symbol of the Ming Empire, a trusted envoy of peace. Every movement on his ship, every gift, Every greeting was part of a journey that would leave its mark on history for centuries. By leaving his mark in every country, Zheng He conquered the world not only on maps but also in the memories of the people. His voyages created an invisible bridge between the Ming Empire and the farthest corners of the world. Fact 8. Conducting diplomatic missions. Zheng He did not just cross the seas, he was the emperor's envoy of peace and diplomacy. At every port, he met with kings, presented the emperor's gifts, and forged treaties and bonds of friendship. His mission was not only trade, each voyage carried a political message. The Ming Empire was a powerful, peaceful, and respected force across the world. Zheng He was a master of diplomacy. His conduct, words, and compassion left a deep impression on leaders of distant lands. He also learned from different cultures and respected local customs. Each voyage was more than a journey by ship. It was a mission to build cultural and political bridges. His diplomatic skill expanded the Ming Empire's influence and engraved Zheng He's name not only in the memory of sailors, but also of kings and merchants. Each port was both a test and an opportunity, a demonstration of how a leader could shape history with wisdom and diplomacy, not just power. Fact 9. Spreading Chinese culture to the world. Zheng He's voyages were not only about ships and diplomacy, they also carried the culture of Ming China to distant ports. At every harbor, he presented Chinese silk, porcelain, delicate artworks, and advanced technologies. These gifts were not merely symbols of wealth, they were messages of culture, art, and knowledge. At the same time, he brought back spices, exotic animals, and rare treasures from other countries. It was more than trade. Each item created an invisible bridge between Ming China and the world. Through Zheng He's voyages, people learned about each other's cultures and began to respect their differences. Fact 10. Death and the mystery of his grave. In 1433, Zheng He's final voyage came to an end. Across the endless waters of the Indian Ocean, he had grown old, yet his spirit remained that of a brave and energetic leader. As his ships returned to port, Zheng He passed away quietly. The exact location of his grave remains a mystery. Some say he was buried at sea, while others believe he rests in a hidden site in China. This mystery became part of the legend of his life. But death was not the end for Zheng He. He lives eternally in the memory of the Ming Empire, in the history of Chinese maritime exploration, and in the world's imagination. Every voyage, every diplomatic meeting, every cultural bridge left a trace of his legacy. Every wave carried his legend to distant shores. Zheng He's story shows that a person's life is measured not by its length, but by the mark and inspiration they leave in history. If you want to follow more inspiring stories from history, subscribe and hit the bell icon so every new video reaches you first. History will come alive for you, mysteries will unfold, and incredible journeys await.